Yeah, so now we can start. Okay, so let me first introduce Ishan to you all, and let me first introduce myself. So, hello everyone, I am Aniket, the community manager at Rancho Labs, and we are having a great personality today that is Ishan Vora. He's a game developer, he is a SDE, and today he will be sharing everything related to game development today with you all. Just the one thing, keep yourself mute throughout the webinar. At the end, we will have the Q&A session, and that time you can ask your question. So over to you, Ishan.
Okay, so I hope everyone can hear me.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, you're
Yes,
audible.
Okay,
Can.
Yes, sir.
okay. Hey everyone, my name is Ishan, and a little footnote here. I would have done anything to get such a webinar organized when I was in school. Um, it is amazing to see so many young people here. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about what are we going to talk about today, right? We are going to talk about getting started in game development. Now, who here has played this really new upcoming game called Valorant? I have. Who has played PUBG here? Either mobile or on PC
Sami,
or
sir.
Xbox.
Sami.
So me, sir.
Right.
Sir.
Okay. One little, let's set up like a one small rule. If I'm asking a yes or no question, just raise your hand. There will be a button, raise hand. Okay. Um, okay. So all of us have played either Valorant, which is a PC game. So if you have a PC, you can try playing it. Um, I'm not encouraging to play a lot of video games, but just you can try it because what we are going to cover is learning how different games work and how we can, go about making such stuff. Okay. Played Vice City, GTA Vice City or GTA San Andreas. That was the game when I was at your age. So coming home from school at 2:30 p.m. or 3 p.m., I would have my lunch and then I would just sit on playing Vice City for an hour or two until my mom comes and scolds me. So we are going to talk about all these different games and how uh, programmers and designers and people who are working in scientific fields, so like physics, chemistry, maths, even, uh, come together to make such interactive environments, right? Because game development is not just about the games; it has become much more wide now. So softwares that were being used to create only games, right, are now being used to make big movies like Avengers Endgame or Infinity War and even Justice League, right?
Yes.
So that's what we are going to be learning today. A little bit
Okay,
about
sir.
myself. My name is Ishan. I am an SDE1 at Hype.store. So Hype.store is an Indian e-commerce application available on both iOS and Android. And I'm working as a software development engineer. That is what SDE stands for. I am a mentor at International Organization of Software Developers, where so mentoring people means I am taking classes and teaching people how to make games. I am a Microsoft Learn student ambassador. Um, I make a little bit of content every now and then on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, where I share stuff about my projects that I've been working on. A little bit about the animated movies that I'm working on, and I'm a tech speaker, which means that I regularly speak on technical stuff, just like I'm doing right now. But this one will be much more interesting than the ones that I've done before. Okay, so why should we care about making games? Okay, because first thing is because we care about playing games, and to make games, to have the ability of playing games that are really good, right? Like PUBG or Call of Duty, we need to have an understanding of how to make those good games, right? That's how companies like Rockstar and EA and Ubisoft, think about when they're making a game. There are unlimited opportunities. So if you get interested in this field right now and you continue learning on it and learning the various technologies that have come out, if you keep on learning, there are unlimited amount of opportunities, and not just in coding. A lot of people think that making games is all about coding. Actually, as I will show you in a little while at the end of our session, uh, coding is really not that important in game development. What important is how your creative logic works. Are you really are you solving a particular problem in a really good way? So that helps a lot, right? If you're creative, you can make money out of game development. Gaming is one of the biggest entertainment source in the world. So 10 years ago, I'd say that I would have said that TV is the biggest source of entertainment, right? Everybody watches TV for entertainment. But right now, people are not watching TV. People are playing games on their phones, on their computers, on their PlayStation and Xbox, right? To get a little bit of relaxation. I'm not saying that people are not watching TV at all, but gaming has replaced television and video content as the major source of entertainment. And now this is one of the most interesting one. Gaming industry is worth 90 billion US dollars as of year 2020. So last year, gaming industry generated 90 billion US dollars. Now that's a lot of money. If I print out $100 bill and stacking it up, it would fill my entire house. That's how much money that is. Continuous demand for fresh ideas. So as long as you're having fresh ideas, one of the most important skill in a lot of the fields, not just game development, is how often you come up with fresh ideas. So maybe we can come up with a game like Subway Surfer, but it is situated in space, right? Or you come up with a whole new genre of itself, right? You come up with a whole new category of game. Hey, maybe we can make a game that looks like this. Maybe we can use these characters and make a game revolving around it, right? So if you're having constantly, you're throwing out fresh ideas, you're going to have success in this field. Creative freedom to create literally anything. Now, what I mean by that is, how often have we played games where the scenario does not represent the reality? Now, uh, in GTA Vice City, I can use a cheat code to have an unlimited amount of wealth. Now, that's not reality, because if it was, everybody would be rich, right? And you can make games, you can create these little worlds, and you can set those rules around them, right? So you can make a game where the person is on Mars, but he doesn't need a spacesuit, right? Not because Mars doesn't have oxygen, but because you have set that rule. In your version of Mars, I can work without a spacesuit. So you have the creative freedom to create literally anything. Contribution in other industry as well. So if you learn game development and the tools around it, you're not only opening the doors to game development fields, right? You're not opening doors to companies like Ubisoft, EA, Activision, Rockstar, but you're also opening doors to a lot of research and development companies, right? Because so there was this movie that came out called Interstellar, which showed a black hole. Now, nobody knew what a black hole would look like because it is literally a hole in space-time, right? It's literally a hole. How would you make a hole, right? First of all, like, you need something ideas. So how did they make a black hole as true to reality as it is shown in the movie? They took help from scientists, and those scientists made some calculations, and then they hired a person who worked on 3D technology, and then he put those calculations in his software, and they made that and that software made that black hole window, right? So not only you are opening doors to um, game development, but you're also potentially becoming a scientist, a filmmaker, because a lot of the movies are now being, taking advantage, are now taking advantage of game development softwares. You can create education tools, right? So you can use virtual reality technique, one where you put goggles on and you are in a completely different world. You can either use those or you can use augmented reality like Pokemon Go. You can make games out of these that are educational, right? So you can make educational content using game development tools. And education is the type of industry that is going to see major changes. You're going to see major changes. There will be a lot of cool things coming out for this industry, right? Now, let's say that we want to make games. I was convinced by this slide that game development has a lot of opportunities and I should do it. What platform am I targeting on? So here are some of the platforms that are available. First is Microsoft Xbox. Now Xbox has come out to be better than PlayStation 5, the latest one, right? So there you go. They have done a lot of awesome stuff. The technology is really good. Then we have Sony PlayStation. A lot of cool games have come out on PlayStation, right? Everyone, at least of my age, has played God of War 2, God of War 3 on their PlayStation 2, right, or PSP. Then we have Windows, right? Windows are Linux, or let's just call it PC. So computer gaming has become a big source of income for game development, right? Because they make games like Valorant and Counter-Strike Global Offensive. So those are competitive games. Teams fight each other in those games, right? And then big companies like Corsair, Verizon in America, they organize huge tournaments and they give out millions and millions of dollars of prize monies in those tournaments, right? So that's a huge market. If you create something like PUBG, a small PUBG clone, then you potentially have attracted all of the PC market in the world. And then we have Android and iOS, right? Then we have our mobile platforms. So in mobile, we have games like PUBG Mobile. Thanks to PUBG, we have now seen better and better graphically able games in mobile platform, right? We had Call of Duty after that.
Free Fire.
Yes, we have Free Fire.
Garena.
Sir, Epic 7, sir.
Okay. So how do we decide that what things should I incorporate in my game? So you're making a game, all right? You're making a game for say PlayStation, and you've decided that you're going to be making a game for PlayStation. And so how would you decide various components and various stuff that is going to be in it? This is what this is kind of a list where on if you focus on these topics, your game will come out great. That's what I'm trying to say. First is art or concept. Okay, so the first thing is, what is the premise of the game? Say in a game like Resident Evil, the premise of the game is that you fight zombies. There is a zombie outbreak. There is a virus has spread out to a particular location, and you're going out there, you're researching, you're fighting the zombies, right? So you have your art, your concept written. Okay, these are what my zombies would look like. This is the storyline, right? Like wide, like just a outline of it. Ki aise aise hoga, right? Then we have gameplay. Now, gameplay elements consists of things like what guns will we have in the game, right? What weapons other than guns, say melee weapons. Melee weapons are knives, crowbars, etc. And how would you want the zombies to react? Can they hear voices? Can they see the player? right? Can they run? Because in Resident Evil movies, the zombies don't actually run, right? So they have that kind of logic going on there. So these are how basically the rules of your game will work. It's called gameplay elements, right? And then we have sound and cinematics. Sounds mean the sound effects that you're going to be incorporating in. Okay, let me explain sounds in a really interesting, in a really cool example. So you've heard laser rifles, right? The one that go pew pew. And you've played PUBG, so now you know what an AKM sounds like. It has a really burst-like sound. Now, what if I replace the burst-like sound of AKM with the laser guns? So every time you fire AKM, it would make the sound of a laser rifle. Would it look good? No, right? It would look really stupid because there is this gun in which fire is coming out of the muzzle, and it sounds like a laser rifle. So sounds are really important. Incorporating good sound effects of the environment. So if you're in a jungle environment, you can hear the birds, you can hear the wind, right? So these are the sounds um, that will ground your player into the game, right? They will make they will be more immersed in the game, and the more immersed the player is, the better. Cinematics. So cutscenes um, cutscenes are like a major part of games these days. So when you play Apex Legends on PC, they play a particular cinematic. When you play PUBG, they play a little cinematic where they show the plane is flying, and after 1 or 2 seconds, you're able to choose your drop location, right? So cinematics is a movie that you're going to be playing for the user, uh, for the player to set the scene. Okay, so I completed one mission, and someone has their mic on. Please request everyone to mute their mics. Thank you. So cinematic is sort of like a little movie, and I'm going to show you an example of it. I have collected. I have made quite a few animated movies, so you can get an idea of what a cinematic is. Then we have visuals. Now, visuals comprises of graphics, right? So if you're making a game, a 3D game, and it has really poor graphics, say a tree looks like a square, which is brown and green in color, would you be like enjoy that? No, right? You would
No,
want
sir.
the tree to
No,
look like
sir.
a tree.
No, sir.
Yep. Thank you. Then we have the story. How do you want your game go from point A to point B? In PUBG, I'm going to be taking the example of PlayerUnknown Battleground a lot because it is the one of the most hottest games in India, and you guys will be able to relate to it, right? Otherwise, I can give examples of a lot more games. I have played a lot of games. Okay, so story, right? So in PUBG, you start from going in a plane, dropping on an island, right? You
Yes, sir.
land on the island,
Yes, sir.
and at
Yes,
the
sir.
end of the game, so what's your end, right? You went from A to B. What is your B? You either die or you become the last man standing. So that is their story. Similarly, in Fortnite, you go on the bus. I don't know how that bus flies. See, you can literally create anything in a game. That doesn't make sense, but the bus flies. After that, you drop on the island. Now either you die or you become the last man standing, right? So that is their story. In GTA Vice City, you're a gangster named Tommy who have come out of the jail, right? And you have some important business taken care of, right? You need to take down rival gangs and whatnot, right? So they have created their own stories. So if you have 3 out of 5 of these elements in your game set up, your game is going to be awesome, right? So think about all the amazing games that you have liked and played, like thoroughly enjoyed, and try to see if you can relate these 5 points to those games, right? I have already connected PUBG with all of this, right? Now you think about a game and see if these 5 points connect with that, right? You'll see that if you enjoyed the game, all of these 5 points will make sense. The art of the game is important. The gameplay is really important, right? Sounds are really important. How the sounds are being played. And the most important thing is if you get 5 of these right, the game will be fun. And that is the most important thing that you would want, right? Now, uh, okay, so raise your hands if you like drawing, you like art, you like, doodling or just creative stuff. Now, there are so many people who like creative things, right? So now game development is not just about coding, right? Okay, you can put down all your hands, people who are raising hands. It's awesome to see such a lovely response. Um, so gaming is not just about making and programming and coding and maths and science, right? Such big words. It's also about art, right? How do you design your world? How do you want to make it look attractive, right? Because if the weather in PUBG is always stormy, right, always gloomy, like it is right now in Delhi, it's like grayish weather, and it makes the game look really dull. Would you play it? No. Why would you? Because it's just too depressing to see right now, right? It's too sad of a weather,
Yeah.
right? So people who have artistic skills to take those skills and make something. So you know how a game is first designed, the levels in the game. First, they bring on artists. So these artists listen to the idea. Okay, so you want a battle royale game. There are 100 people, and you want them to fight them on an island. They all pen down that, and then they would make art, like how the fight would be. So there will be like a mountain, and two people would be fighting, right? And they would make hundreds and hundreds of art. Okay. Now they will submit all of these drawings and all of this models and art and whatnot to their to people who are going to be making the stuff in the game, right? In the software. And then they would discuss on it. There would be meetings, and then they would finally start creating the world inspired from those drawings, right?
So that is called concept art. The level designer.
Exactly. Right. So first of all, the concept as artists come, and if you think that that's where the art people stop working in a game development process, you're probably wrong, because then we have the creative directors who will oversee what the people who are working on the software are, because he will be the boss of all the people making the game. So he's going to sit down, he's going to see if the world is actually looking good or not. Is it fun to look at, or is it just sad, or like not suitable for the game that they're trying to make, right? Because there are sad games, but a lot of people don't play them because they're sad. So creative directors sit down and they see if the ideas that they have are being implemented properly. Then we have 3D artists who will come in and paint those landscapes, right? Who will use their 3D softwares like Blender, Unreal Engine. I'm going to talk about all the 3D tools, and they're going
Maya.
to, yeah, Autodesk, Maya, uh, and they're going to make those 3D worlds, not just levels. They'll create 3D models for the characters, right? They're going to make the textures and materials for your skin, right? The skins that go on the guns and uh, equipment of the player and whatnot, right? So gaming has a huge importance of art, right? So if you have artistic skills and you like playing games, you can try to become a concept artist. You can try to become a 3D artist, and it's really fun. Now let's talk about some case studies. So case studies means that we're going to be looking at 2 or 3 different games, and we are going to see if what we have learned until now, gaming as a form of art, those 5 things that will make your game great, have held up or not. So first of all is PUBG, and I have talked about this game constantly because I know you all must have been playing it. Not all, but most of you, right, in your free time after classes, and I wanted to be able to connect with you via this game. So let's talk about art or concept. The concept is really awesome. Basically, PUBG was the first game that came out globally with this idea that we can make a game where 100 people fight and only one person remains, like in
Battle
Hunger Games.
Royale.
Yes, the whole concept of battle royale. Well, actually, the battle royale name came out quite later. The first time it was introduced was in the Hunger Games book, right? So the art and concept was penned down, and then they decided to make the gameplay. So they added vehicles for the users to go, and they added a lot of guns because on an island there can be a lot of guns that for you, the drops as it is said in the game, right? There is a lot of loot, so they added those things. They added movement mechanics, right? You can run around, you can jump, you can crouch, you can prone. So all of these, the player mechanics means basically the rules by which something works. So the rules by which the player moves, they got that down, and they did a really good job. The weapon mechanics is one of the best in PUBG. Like their movement is not that good, but their weapon mechanics, the way the player handles the weapons, is really good. Then they added sounds. Like I said, they used weapon ranges. So people go to these weapon ranges to train on different weapons. They shoot weapons on targets. They try to become better in shooting. So people
And there are some dialogues also.
yes, there are dialogues also. So they hired voice actors to do that. So they went to basically gun ranges and they recorded the sound of each and every gun that they were trying to include in the game, right? And they added a little bit of editing here and there to make it look much better. And that's why the sounds in this game are really good. Then we have the cinematics. The cinematics are not that much in PUBG. Only there is one scene of the plane flying above, right? Then we have visuals, right? So visuals in this game are awesome. Um, the graphics are really good. If you have a good machine, you can really see how detailed everything is. And the story, like I said, it had a unique story, a unique concept. You land on a plane, win, fight everyone, and then win at the end or die fighting, right? And it is a really awesome game. So when you go on a very high landscape in Miramar or Erangel or any of the maps, you can actually see the landscape and it looks quite photogenic, right? So they've got the art also there, right? All the things that they have poured. So a lot of the artists sit down and try to make really awesome skins for that. So like each and every point that we have learned, this game nails it down, right? They does the developers have done an excellent job, and that's why it's so addictive. So if a game is addictive, you know it is good, right? Now
Yes, sir.
let's talk about a game called Alone. Now it is something that I have been working on, that I worked on basically. It is out on itch.io, which is a marketplace for independent developers and student developers.
Sir, I know about it the time.
Okay. I would request everyone to please mute their mics. It kind of breaks my flow when I'm trying to talk about something. If you have your questions, if you have any suggestions, I'd be happy to take them at the end. And we're really close to the end. So when we talk about Alone, it's a horror game. Okay, so probably not for all of, not for some people. People who are scared of horror games or feel uncomfortable. Um, So Alone is basically uh, a game where a person gets trapped in a jungle and he has to investigate this particular place, an abandoned asylum, and uh, the people that he has come up with have got lost, and now he has to figure out what is actually going on there. So I will link it down. So I had the concept ready for that. I had the art ready for that. So I was the only person, which makes it really hard for doing all the drawings and whatnot. So what I did was I made doodles and I tried to implement what I was trying to explain to myself using those doodles. Right? Uh, Now this I would show you how the game actually looks like. I have it on my PC right now. So I'll play it for you one time. So what are the different skills that are required for you to break into game development? That you can start working on right now. So the biggest one that you should start working on right now is creative aptitude. Learn a lot of new things. Get into reading books, learn about histories of various countries, including our own, learn about space, um, and how you can make a game around it. Because creative aptitude is one of the biggest and the most important factor when you're making a game. You should come up with creative features and creative ideas to how to engage the player, right? Now think about it. PUBG has done an amazing job on engaging all of the players into skins. Now the skins even actually are like a tangible thing. You can't touch it, but it looks cool when you play the game. So, so some person who recommended their superior people in Rockstar that hey, maybe we can add skins in the guns. It might look cool and it won't affect how the gun works, but it is going to look awesome. And they were like, sure, let's do that. And they generated over $10 million of revenue using the skins and the loot crates and how whole that thing works with the royal pass and everything. In 1 year, $10 million is a huge deal, right? And I'm talking about only mobile. It's also on Xbox and PlayStation, and I also think it's on Switch. No, not on Switch, but on PC, right? So we have all these other platforms as well. So creativity, being able to find new ideas is a really important skill. Then we have problem solving. Now here comes all your aptitude, solving puzzles and everything else. So that is your problem solving attitude. Then we have programming. Now it's really not that important if you're going in a creative field. If you're working as a gameplay programmer, then you will have to do code a lot in a big project. But I don't think programming is that big of a factor. So you can start learning it later down the line when you get in college or anything, right? Because you might be seeing a lot of ads of companies that I wouldn't take name of, and they're trying to convince parents that your kids should learn coding. But to be honest, in school you should focus on creative aptitude. You should focus on solving puzzles. You should focus on your STEM subjects, which is science, maths, right? Your languages, because these subjects will lay the groundwork for you. And because coding actually takes 6 months, you will be learning a language in 6 months, mastering it technically, right? So you don't worry about coding right now. Worry about making ideas. Make a journal and write 5 new ideas every single day. Right? It could be about anything. So for example, if I'm going to bed today and I see someone roller skating and I thought to myself that in a movie called Back to the Future there was flying skates. So they weren't actually wheels, they were just flying. So I thought that would be pretty cool and I wrote that down on my journal. Now, it doesn't matter if I work on it, but my brain got involved in a creative activity, right? So, make this a little bit of habit that when you go to bed, in a diary or on a page, write some 5 creative things, right? 5 creative ideas, right? and that is pretty much it. After you finally decide to go into game development and in a coding field, you would start doing some maths also. So I wrote that down. So maths is pretty important because you would need to figure out how the physics would work, and when there is physics, there is maths, right? Okay, now we have started come to the most interesting part, which is um, okay, so I'm just reading all the comments.
So through Blender, we can we also make games? I thought that it is just for 3D video editing.
No.
You can also make small games with Python scripting and voxel art also.
Exactly. So again, I request everyone to mute myself because I am going to cover
That's a
all
new
of
thing
these
for
things.
me.
I am going to cover all of these things. Okay. So first of all is Unreal Engine. Now I discovered the software in 2016, which is 5 years ago. I was 16 years old, and this has been the software for me. I have not switched to Unity. I have learned Blender to model stuff and animate stuff, but I don't use it to make games. You can make games. It would require a little bit of scripting in Python, but um, Unreal Engine has become the software for the industry, and I've spoken that with a lot of emphasis. Do you want to know why? Because games like PUBG, games like Valorant, games like Fortnite, they've all been made on Unreal Engine. Not only that, I was saying that movies like Infinity War and Endgame and Justice League and so many different movies have used Unreal Engine 4 as their motion capture tool, as their animation tool, and whatnot. Right? Uh, right? So motion capture, I said this two words called motion capture. Sounds really cool. So what does it exactly mean? They take actors, right? Now these are motion capture actors. They don't need to do a lot of expressions, or they don't need to be good at what they're actually doing, right? They just need to move around. They'll put them in a suit, and these suits have trackers in them, and whatever their action they will portray on the stage, it will be that information will be applied on a 3D model. So Josh Brolin, the actor who played Thanos, used to wear this whole suit, which used to capture his face also. So in that case, you would have to be good actor because it is looking at your face also. And his expressions and his body movements would then apply to Thanos. Because if you see Josh Brolin, he's like a small dude. He's like 4 feet tall, and Thanos is like 10, 12 feet tall person, right? And so big. So how would that even work? You can't make a costume. So that's how they made such a big, effect using Unreal Engine. And it's free. The biggest thing is it's free. And Unity is also one of the biggest tools. You can use that. Godot engine, game engine, has really intrigued me over the past few years. I have started learning it, and it's really awesome. You can try that as well, and Blender as well. So I think Blender, out of all these, Blender and Unity has the most amount of tutorials here. And Unreal Engine 4 has come out with this Unreal Engine 5, which will fully launch in 2022. I have got the early access of that, and it's really amazing. I have made one short film on YouTube using that, so it's really awesome. The graphical capabilities of that thing is.
Sir, can you share the link of your YouTube channel in the chat box?
I will. As I said, I will share a lot of things.
So you will be teaching us and the.
Okay, let's talk about what are the opportunities in game development. I'm not talking about for a professional, right? I'm talking about students, opportunities for students like you. So there is this thing called Epic Mega Grants, right? So let's say you come up with an awesome idea of a movie. Okay, you go to Epic, you say, hey, I want to make this movie, and I need a big PC and all of those things, and there you go, help me. And then they will give you $30,000 as a grant for you to make that movie, right? If you're making a game, you can fill out that form, right? You can, if you have made a few games, you can apply for GDC. So GDC here means Game Developer Conference, where game developers from all over the world are invited, and you can either attend it or you can speak at it. If you get selected as a speaker, it is a huge thing, right? You will be bombarded with job opportunities and people trying to connect with you, and basically you will be like awesome if you got a chance to speak at it, right? It's tough because there are a lot of people, a lot of good people in the industry speak, but if you start working on something really good and it catches someone's eye, then right. And then Xbox, so Microsoft Xbox has its program called ID at Xbox. So I have a game that is coming out via ID at Xbox on Xbox platform and PC platform. uh, I haven't figured out the name yet, so I'm just calling it Project A. It is going to be a battle royale game, but it has a little bit of a gritty, dark theme. I will share um, all of the information. So you can just Google about Epic Mega Grants and ID at Xbox. Just Google ID @ Xbox, and you'll be bombarded with information about it. Just type in GDC and the year that we are in now. So GDC 21 or 2021. Open the first link and you can see about the information, right? And Epic Mega Grants also, you can just search about it. So that is pretty much it. Now you can ask me questions one by one.
Excuse me,
So
sir.
we have, yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to ask that the site for Epic Grant,
Site for grant.
Epic
Okay.
Mega Grant.
Yeah,
you
let
said,
me just show
they
you.
fund-
Can you see my browser right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Epic Mega. So I'll paste the link in the chat box. Okay. Now everyone can see. Okay, so they give funding for all kinds of creative and technological work. If you're making a game, they'll give you. If you're making something in media and entertainment, which basically covers films and whatnot. Enterprise, which is not for you, it is for enterprises, which means big companies. Education, tools, and open source. So if you're making a game development tool, right, which is going to help people who make games, then you can also apply. And this is the form.
Sir, can we apply for making a game?
Yes, that is the first thing here. Okay, open it, read about it. If you want to learn more about Unreal Engine, you can click here on Learn and Unreal Engine for students. And there is going to be a whole free big course for students from the people who have made the Unreal Engine. So you know it's going to be good, right?
Yes, sir. Sir, please share the link of your YouTube channel.
Okay, so this is my YouTube channel. All you need to do is go to YouTube, type in youtube.com/Ishan Gora. Okay, so this is the link. Just copy paste it, and this is the movie that I was talking about.
And sir, please share the link of your social medias also.
I think there are in the PPT.
Excuse me, sir.
Okay, there we have it. So these are my social media handles at Ishan Gora 4 on Twitter, at Ishan Gora 2 on Instagram and LinkedIn. It's pretty much Ishan Gora 2 everywhere except on Twitter.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, I have an idea for a 3D game, a story-based game, but I don't know how to implement the functions for it in programming.
Learn about it. Learn about it. See, you're just like you're really young right now. Okay, so don't be afraid of downloading a program. Right? If your laptop or PC is not super high end, right? It's not very costly. Download Unity. Go to YouTube and see a lot of tutorials. Okay, see a lot of videos and learn about it. It's really not that hard, and you would be really surprised to see how quickly you can make things. Because I think this is the only field in which you do a little bit of amount of work and the output is huge, right? You can instantly play around with a lot of things. Okay, so this is the movie that I made using the latest version of Unreal Engine 5, which is not completely out yet.
So I was side by side watching this only.
So this is something that I worked on for like I think I was able to make this video, make this animation in 8 hours max. So I worked 4 and 4 on weekends, and I was able to make this. All the voices that you're hearing is done by an AI voice generator.
So can you play the video?
You can view it. You know what? I'll paste it in the chat box, and you can view it after the. Because if I play this, then it will copyright ID on the live stream, and it is going to be a problem for Angela. So that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Let me just paste it.
This is the feature video on your channel.
Yes, this is going to be the main thing that you see.
So you needed to do some coding for this.
No, if you're making a movie, I don't think you need coding. I haven't coded anything for this one.
So how do we do this?
I have 2 live streams, which one of them is creating a sci-fi scene in Unreal Engine, and the other one is Mecha Godzilla. So in this one, I just tell how to make like a scientific, sci-fi environment.
Said you also have one for Spider-Man.
Yes, so I made a little Spider-Man short film with the help of
Excuse me,
some
sir.
parties at Microsoft. So this is how it actually looks like, the end goal here, right? Also, this one is how you can make like a small movie. So I made like one scene. We have to go to the end. So I created like this scene where the Godzilla is roaring and is in front of all these mountains, and there is fog everywhere. Right, so you can follow this. It's like super easy. Okay, and no coding here as well as here.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, I also tried making some animations in Blender, but it lags all the time.
You can go into the settings and drop the preview settings, right? So rather setting it to high, you can set it to medium or low or something like that.
Sir,
Yes.
which one we should use? Which is better, Unreal or Unity?
It depends. It depends. Because Unreal Engine is really powerful in graphics. So if you're making a short film, if you're making a game which has really high graphic capabilities, right? Then Unreal Engine is the tool for you. If you want to make something quickly, something that is student friendly, then you should go Unity, right? Unity is actually easier.
In Unreal?
Sorry?
So does it cost in Unreal? Means
No. Unreal Engine is completely free. I think
but
Unity
it's a
is
large
also
size.
free.
It's about 40-50 GB.
Yeah, it's as I said, it has really high graphical capabilities and is like
So
quite
you
heavy.
created these movies using Unreal?
Yes.
Oh.
Any more questions?
Yeah, we have one question from YouTube live stream mainly. So one person
Okay.
has asked that how can one publish his or her game on the Play Store or App Store, if you have any idea about it?
Okay. So Play Store has like really simple process. App Store has a little bit of tricky process. You go to Play Store console, okay, and you sign in with your Google account. So whatever account that you want to publish from, just sign in from that, and then you need to pay a $25 fee, which is going to be a one-time fee. You will never have to be able to, you will never have to pay again, and you can put unlimited amount of updates and apps on your console, right? uh, and then you would upload your APK, fill in the form like details about your game, and press publish. After like 2 or 3 days of reviewing, or if your game is like really big, they would take a week also. It doesn't take more than a week. So after reviewing it, your app will be finally available on Play Store. For App Store, you need to get a developer account. You need to pay like $100 fee for your application. Then you would have to wait 4 or 5 weeks for their first review. Then they tell you that fix this, and you'll fix that. And then after they finally review it, then you will be able to publish it. So Apple is a tricky thing. Apple is very
Yeah.
It falls for security.
Yes, that is all for security reasons. That's why iOS is one of the most secure platforms. Okay, any other questions, or shall we call it?
Sir, mm, sorry, Unreal. So from where do we download it? Means
You go to Epic Games website or just type in unrealengine.com and you will be taken to the
so
website.
do we need to sign in that app to do it?
Yes, you would be needing to make an account. It doesn't take your credit card information or anything. Like I said, it is completely free, right?
Oh,
So this basically movie has been made on Unreal Engine 5.
okay.
Right? Yeah, the Unreal Engine 5 is going to be awesome. It actually has really awesome features. Let me just put this in the chat box.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, can you also put the link for Alone that is on itch.io?
You can play it for free, but you won't be able to access the source code.
Sir, can you put the link in the chat box?
Okay. There you go. This is the link for Unreal Engine, www.unrealengine.com. Oops, I have been. There you go. This is the link for Alone. And
Excuse me, sir, I have another question.
okay.
Sir, can I be a separate part of a game developer team for only the concept art or 2D sprites?
I couldn't hear you. You can write your question in the chat.
Sir, can I be an concept art designer or a 2D sprite designer for a game developer team?
Yes, because 2D games are making a comeback right now. A lot of the games
Yeah.
that have been
Huh?
on the top 10 are 2D games, and the demand for 2D artists have like gone up.
Sir, I have a question, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Sir, can you remaster a game which is made in Unreal Engine in Unity or vice versa?
Okay, so remastering means you are using one type of project and you're trying to make it better. So this is usually done when you update your software, right? So something was built on previous versions and you would put it on the newer version and use the features of the new version to make the old game look better. So you can't use games that were built on some other old version of a software in another new version of another completely different software, because the files basically so what is a game engine, right? I would just explain it really quickly. A game engine is nothing but a data converter. It takes input in numbers and it converts it into visual format. It takes the coordinates of a thing and it places it in the world based on that coordinate, right? So the way one software understand it doesn't mean that another software will do it in the same way.
There are some function changes if even the code language is the same. Then also there
Exactly.
are some function changes.
Exactly. The APIs change. Viral has done their own thing.
So I want to ask that can we download your game on a PC?
Yes, yes, it is available for PCs only.
Sir, can you explain something about it?
Share something about it as in?
Explain the story.
I want to ask that what is the minimum specification required to play this game?
It's on the website. I've shared it. It's on the website. I don't actually remember it.
So even I have one doubt.
Okay, so I will be able to take 2 questions because I have a really important work call. I'm so sorry.
Okay, so
Just
one last question from
that
Kevin,
this
I
game
guess.
is also
Okay.
like available on iOS or Android.
Alone is not available on Android or iOS. It will not be because it's really graphically demanding and phones will not be able to run that.
Okay.
Okay.
So sir,
Yes.
till now, how much like games you have created?
I have shipped 3 projects and 2 more are coming. Okay, Kevin.
So what are the minimum specifications for Unreal?
Minimum specifications is you don't need a graphic card. If you're running an Intel chip or latest AMD ones, which have GPU in them, you should have at least 8 GB of RAM. And if you have i3, the one of the latest ones, it is good.
Oh.
So this is the minimum one. इसके ऊपर तो जितना जाओ, it will reward that, right?
And sir, what is the name of 2 other games which you have created?
One is Night Star, which was via iOSD and Alone, and there was another game called Terror Attacks, which I launched back in when I was in school.
So all 3 are for PC or some are for Android or iOS?
Night Star is for Android. Let me just try to find the link for it.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, do you know any Discord server or online community for game development?
I couldn't hear you.
Sir, do you know any Discord server or
Unreal Engine have their own Discord server. I am not sure about Unity, but they should also have. Unity ka student network is much more bigger. Okay, so I have to drop off now.
Yeah. Okay, so let's end the session now. You can
Sir, I have
contact
one more
Ishan.
question. Sir, can you please share the link for your third game?
I'll share it to you on Instagram. It is.
You can contact Ishan on Instagram or Twitter on any social media, and you will get the access to everything.
Yeah.
So now we will have to end the thing. Thank you so much, Ishan, for joining, and it was really a knowledgeable session for all of us.
Thank you. Thanks, Aniket, for having me, and all of the guys and girls at Financial Labs.
Thank you. And If anyone hasn't joined our community server, then the link is in the comments or the chat section. You can just tap on it and can join. So thank you everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Have a nice day, everyone.
Bye, sir.
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir.
Bye, sir.